Hi, this is Josh at Powerstroke Customs. Today I'm going to talk about air filters. I know in the past I haven't really gotten into performance and aftermarket items for your 6-liter Powerstroke. Today I'm going to talk about 3 different filters. I'm going to talk about the factory Ford air filter element. I'm going to talk about the S&B air filters that we just got in stock here. And I'm also going to talk about the Banks air filter system. So I want to compare all 3 of them. Since I was a former employee at Gale Banks Engineering, I want to talk about all 3, which ones I recommend, and I'm going to give you facts. Okay, so anyways, we're going to install this system on a 2005 Ford Excursion. The Excursion has the factory air filter system in it. As you can tell, the factory air system, this one goes all the way to the turbo. The way you take it out, which we will show you later on, I pull the whole filter out, and then the air filter comes apart like this, and you can see everything that gets sucked through the grill gets pulled in, and you get all that debris in here. So this is your form of filtration. With the S&B filters, you get this big box, so it's pretty close to the same comparison as stock. You're gonna get filter element. This one is actually an oiled filter element, so it's pre-oiled. It's ready to be installed. S&B also makes filter skins for these filters. This will have a filter skin on it. I will show you why later on when we look at the Banks filter. Banks just came out with filter skins for their air filters as well, so I highly recommend them, but to run them, especially in sandy and dusty conditions. There's a couple modifications that I do to the trucks when I run air filters like this that help it get a little bit more air, but we'll cut that line in a little bit. So this S&B system, they give you your spot for your airflow sensor, and your filter minder goes right here. So it goes in here. Now, one thing I like about this system is it uses this silicone gasket here, and it's pretty tight. Okay. Now, this goes around here, so as you can see, you got a nice tight seal all the way around, so you're not going to get any heat or debris in from the backside into the filter box. On the Banks system, they don't have this. The Banks system actually just is plastic, and once it goes through the box, you would feed this tube through like that, and then it would bolt to the box. There's actually nothing around this area to seal except for plastic to plastic, and we all know that the plastic's not made perfect, so there's going to be some gap in it. So water or any type of dust could get sucked through, and heat can get pulled through the back side of the filter and pulled into the box. So that's something that S&B kind of changed to make it more of a tighter seal on the back of the box. Now, another thing, S&B actually has their system continue all the way to the turbo. So it's kind of like the factory system here. Banks doesn't do that as well. Banks actually just has it go to the first bellow right here. So you're reusing this system here, and you're not changing out all the plumbing to the turbo. So that's another thing I kind of don't like about the Banks system. With the S&B system, you can use this rubber seal on the top if you're gonna cut a hole in your hood. They give you, for the performance guys that are running aftermarket hoods and stuff like that, if you want an increased airflow, you can use the rubber seal here on the top. Now, for this truck, it's actually gonna have this nicely formed kind of like plexiglass here, and it's going to seal on the top. What I would do, I would recommend like a seal tape around the top here, just to keep any heat or any type of debris to come in from the top, so that way it's pulling everything directly through the snorkel. But that's the way this system's designed, so we're just going to stick with that. So there's that filter. You can see that the filter is twice the size of the Banks air filter. The Banks air filter is usually, it's like a cone, and it's only that much of the of this filter, so you get more area of filtration in this box than you do with the Banks system. Theirs is more of a cone shape, but you're going to have airflow coming in through this box, and it's going to go around it anyway, so it's getting quite a bit of air over the stock filter anyway, so it's a lot better in that case too. So one issue that I do have with the Banks one, and I've had it happen a couple times, is the plastic. Theirs is a lot bigger in diameter right here. That goes onto, it's kind of like this size. So their filter is an oval shaped, and it clamps onto an oval shaped tube. So when it goes through like this, their lip on the S&B one is a lot bigger. So therefore, when you have the oval style one clamp onto this, the Banks one falls off sometimes. What I've noticed is when the plastic gets really, really hot, the clamp doesn't really hold much, and any bump you hit, the filter just wants to fall off and lay down into the box. So I don't know if Banks has fixed that. From the filters I've installed lately, they haven't. But with this one, it's a little bit smaller hole to pull air through, but you're still getting way more airflow than the factory air filter. And if I had to compare it to the Banks one, I would say that you're still getting the same amount of air. Just, you know, you're going from an oval to a round one, a round hole here. So the sensor location looks to be close to the same as stock. Banks has put theirs in the same place too, so it's pretty close. But we're gonna go ahead and show you the install on this, and I'll walk over to the truck that has the Banks filter on there, and you can see the difference in what I'm talking about with the oval filter and stuff like that. So anyways, that, and you get the other piece that goes here, that goes all the way to the front. And it also comes with a grommet, so you keep your breather hose for the valve cover. So we're gonna head out, and we're gonna pull out the stock filter out of the truck. We're gonna install this. I'll show you how to install it, and then we'll look at the Banks filter that's in another truck, and I'll show you the differences, and you can see what I'm talking about. Okay? Alright, so a couple tools we're going to be using. I got a flat tip screwdriver. For those of you who have the factory clips for the hose clamps, you're going to need some pliers. 8mm socket, and a pry bar. First thing you want to do is make sure you let all the air out of your degas tank, so that way it doesn't blow up when you take your hose off. You're going to remove your hose here, and we'll stick that right there. Now you're going to unplug your mass airflow sensor and pull your filter minder straight out of the bag. Now I'm going to remove this 8 here, and we're going to take this whole thing out as one unit. can take the filter or the sensor off of that in a minute. Man. Stick your cap back on here. This back on here. Remove the reason why I put the hoses back on is because when I throw the degas forward, I don't want it to drain any water. Okay. There's that. I'm just gonna take that 8 out. Screw. Pull that out just like that. So we're gonna reuse this. So this will slide out. Okay. So there's that. Ford does sell these green O-rings if you need to replace them. This one's actually in pretty decent shape. A lot of the filters I take off these trucks, they're missing them. But you can tell that this thing was already starting to rip. So there's another reason why I like to replace this piece, because it's already falling apart. So since we have a whole new tube with the new system, we don't have to worry about it. Now we can put our degas bottle back up. Okay, disconnect this guy here. Okay. All right, so now we're pretty much cleaned out there. So we can start installing the new system. So first I'm gonna start with the box. Box. Now, when you install these two nipples here, they're going to slide in to these two factory nipple locations, here and one right here. Just slide it on in, nice and easy, just like that. Still has a little bit of clearance from the hose, a little bit of clearance on the factory battery cable, so it's nice. It's a nice, tight, snug fit. Fits perfect. So now we're going to go ahead and put the rubber grommet back. So this lip here will go inside of the air filter here, and it's going to have a nice seal. And what you can do is just spin it, like I'm doing here. Boom, just like that. Nice, tight seal. Now what you're going to need to do, the kit comes with new grommets and new clamps. You gotta make sure you don't lose them. Just lay it right here so you can see everything. So here's your clamp there, 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 there. These are your filter grommets and your gasket. Now, some of the gaskets on these, I know in the last one I did, you won't be using the foam, depending on the type of mass airflow sensor that you have. Okay, so these screws here, these are for the top of the box. Here's goes with these. Okay, so these will go in here in these washers. Okay, the black ones, little Phillips, those will go there. So you got this one, that one, that one there, and that one there. Okay, then you have your two grommets. One's for your filter minder, the other one is for the tube. Now, this one, this tube here, is the one that goes to the box. You have this one here that goes to the turbo. So this one, big hole, it's gonna squeeze into this. Kind of hard with gloves on because everything likes to stick to your gloves. Okay, so now you got your big hole, and then your old tube out of the old filter element is gonna slide right on in, and it's a nice tight snug fit. Look at that, no clamp needed. Nice tight sealed up fit. Okay, so that's ready to go. You have two of these, and these are, they even say it on here right there, look at that, made in USA. Okay, so you got one big one and one small one. The big one is gonna go here. Okay, so I'm gonna put a clamp. Let's see here. Clamp on that. Okay, and then we're going to stick another clamp on this side. So there's those two clamps there. Then you have this rubber grommet here. It goes here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shove this all the way on so it's flush. Okay, so that way when it's in the truck I can slide this forward to go onto the other end of this. Okay, so that's prepped. Then you have, this is for your filter minder, or actually, you take the old grommet from your old filter, when you get it in, twist it. Okay, so that one's ready. So that's for the filter minder there. Then you got your mass airflow sensor, which we're gonna take that out of here. Let me get a torque spit for that. So this has an O-ring on it, and you'll see how this, clean that off real quick, goes just like that. And you want it facing the same direction you took this one off. And then the kit comes with two Phillips screws here. So use these. gasket all the way around. Okay. Now what I do with this one, before you put the filter minder in there, take some grease and put it on the inside, so the filter minder slides in there a lot easier. So now we got this ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and put that in. So this guy, let's take our dipstick out so we don't break it. This guy's gonna come down like this. Okay, it's gonna slide right on in here. Like I said, this is a nice seal. So what I do is I just take some soapy water and I just spray this O-ring up here. So that way it will slide right on through. Just like that. Okay. Okay, go ahead and plug in your air filter sensor. And like I said, make sure you either get this wet, so you can just put some soapy water on it, on the filter minder, and just let it pop on in there, just like that. Okay, so now your filter minder's in, you're all hooked up. Okay, now we're gonna install that other tube. Okay, so now we're gonna install the centerpiece. Make sure that you see the orientation of this hose. Okay, see how it comes out past the front. If it could spin, and it could look like this, and you'll never get it in. So make sure it's sticking out like this. And what I did is I stuck the first rubber boot, and I had the clamp loose, but the back clamp is tight already. Okay, so that's tight on the turbo, and then it's set. And then I put the two hose clamps on this, and just basically swung this up. So you can spin it up, and it's kind of out of the way here. So we're gonna drop this in here. I'm just gonna slide this in. Slides in pretty easy. Okay, so that's in there. And then we're gonna turn the hose. And then that just locks into that. Okay, so that's in there, and that's in there. Okay, so that's pretty good. Trying to make sure my ring is all the way around. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this loose. Now we're gonna stick this guy on here where it's flush. Okay, like I told you earlier. We're gonna put it down here, and we're gonna line this thing up till it's straight. Okay, so see how it kind of lines up like that? And there's going to be a little bit of a gap between these two. So I'm just going to slide this over. So one hose clamp. Actually, I'll do this here. Pull this hose clamp off and slide that guy on there. Slide this back on. Okay. I get two. Slide onto that. Slide onto that. Okay. Just like that. Okay, so now that is in. And then you can put your gas bottle back up. Okay, now you just have your hose clamps to worry about. So just tighten this guy up here. Okay, and then I got this other hose clamp here. Okay. Okay. And then you got this guy. That needs to be spun here. filter minder in. I'll just bolt. Alright, so I got my filter skin put on this thing. Make sure when you put it on, it goes all the way around to the back. Okay, I like my stuff to seal up pretty nice, so if it gets around to this rubber, it's a nice tight seal. Next, you're going to need a 1/4 drive extension and an 8mm socket, and I position the hose clamp to where it's upward. So this is going to drop into the filter box like this, and you're just going to pop it on like that. Okay, pops right on, and then you get here. Now, one thing I noticed, the same with Banks one, you want to push this hose clamp back against the back rim of the filter. Okay, it'll want to slide forward this way. So I just, when I'm tightening it down, just get it snug just a little bit, and then get it to where the clamp is farther back on the filter. Get a better bite. So that's on there. Like I said, with the Banks one, I've had issues with the clamps because it's an oval filter. They don't have much of a lip on the part that comes into the back of the box. So the filter will fall off over time if it gets hot. I've seen them to where, because it's like this, it's not really round, it's more of an oval, and it collapses on the side. So if you tighten the filter up too much, it starts collapsing the side of the filter where it clamps, and the filter just falls right off. So with this one being round, it should hold up a little better. Plus, it has a little bit bigger lip to where the hose clamp won't slide forward and the filter won't fall off. So that is in there. Now we'll go ahead and we're gonna take this paper off of this plexiglass. So I'll get right back to you. So now we got all the paper off of the plexiglass. We're gonna go ahead and set this on. Now, like I said, if you want increased airflow, you could put the rubber piece on instead of the plexiglass. If you were to have a hole cut in your hood or something for race applications, but for right now, we're just gonna put the plexiglass on. So they give you the screws, and we're just gonna hand tighten these for right now until we get all of them in, because it's kind of a tight tolerance. Okay, so there is that. Okay, so now you're pretty much done. Make sure your water hoses are back on and tight, and you should be ready to roll. And make sure that these are tight here. That's tight. That's tight. So some things that you don't see in the manuals that I recommend doing, and I'll show you the difference here. Here's a flaw with Banks, and I see it with this system too. The airflow, they call it a ram air, or Banks calls it a ram air effect. But the thing is, you ain't getting any ram at all. If you look at the front of the grill here, you'll see that the snorkel is behind a piece of your front pick, the fiberglass. So when you look straight through, you don't see your filter at all. So there's no ram air effect. If you take your grill off, come over here and you'll see what I'm talking about. Your filter snorkel's right there. Okay, and you got plexiglass right in front of it that's blocking it. So how is the Banks ram air supposed to be ram air without the ram? You got to cut that out. So what you got to do is, this is where your filter skins come in handy. If you don't have a filter skin, this is fine, but cut this out in the front like we did on this other truck. So I'm going to move over to this other truck that we installed a Banks air filter on, and we're going to give you a meltdown of that. Okay, so here's your Banks ram air system. Like I said, it only goes up to the bellow. The temperature, or the sensor spot is pretty close to what factory and S&B's at. You still got your filter minder, which is nice. They have this weird arch that goes over the filter. Like I said, they use a cone type filter and it's oval. You got your rubber in the front, and this is how dirty it gets when you don't have a filter skin on it. On this truck, we cut out the opening here so you can see how it gets an actual ram air effect from the grill into the snorkel. So if you look at the front of the truck, you can see you get direct airflow from your freeway into the filter and into straight into the engine. So how Banks got their numbers of horsepower increase, they got their dual fans that blow at the front of the grill, because I know how they do it. They have a really high-tech dyno system which allows you to add weight to the truck without having, you can simulate things. But another thing is you get the 60-mile-an-hour freeway wind blowing into the grill. What good does that do when this is not cut out? And it's not in any of their instructions either, or at least it wasn't the last time I looked. Another thing is, you got this filter cover that goes on, and there's gaps all over the place. Like, it warps out, and you can tell with the dirt getting through here over the time and years of use, dirt goes right through. Okay, and it doesn't seal. The S&B one seals a little bit better. Again, like I said, in the back, air goes right to the back of this, and it doesn't seal up because there's no seal power. So you could be getting engine heat in from the back right here. If you look down right here, you can see how this is wide open. Okay, there's no silicone, no gasket, no nothing in there. So you're gonna get engine debris in from the back behind where the filter snorkel goes into the air box. And like I said, these clamps, if you don't have them on, and see how the clamp is towards the back of the filter, if you don't have them on like that, and I put these at the top. Like I said, I kept having issues with these falling off. Sometimes I have trucks come in here that have these Banks filters in here, and the filter's laying down in the box because the clamp, they either clamp them too tight, the oval, it gets hot from the engine heat, and it just gets weak, and it won't hold it, and it just falls apart. So there's a couple of things. I'm giving you facts here on things that are different between S&B and the Banks system. The Banks system, I would say, it's just as easy to install the Banks system as the S&B is. They're almost identical. The S&B box comes up about right here, so it's quite a bit higher. You get a bigger box to it, basically, and so in my opinion, you're going to get more air into the box if you have it cut open. So you're using a bigger box, a bigger filter, so you have more filter space to catch debris and stuff like that. So it's not going to clog up probably as fast, and it's just a neater system. I like the seal on the back, the silicone rubber that they use to seal the back of the air filter up, to keep it clean. And this is not perfect, and it's just you're gonna get stuff in here. So, anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to comment. Make sure you like and subscribe. And, you know, I just doing the best I can to provide you with information and facts about air filter systems. Since I'm starting to, I'm going to start doing more videos on performance stuff and aftermarket stuff. Before I was doing a lot of stuff for, you know, OEM and just helping people out with fixing their issues and problems that are very common. And I know a lot of you guys have done my head gasket install with the cab on, which I shot that just for people to do head studs in their driveway, so I don't have to worry about pulling a cab off. But other than that, you know, this is just an update for you guys. Anyways, thank you.